What's up, Juventini? Not a lot in the news, but it is kind of heavy today as there is some turmoil around Juventus and we have some people adding some fuel to the fire. The Curva Sud is one as they are set to protest tomorrow leading into Monday's game. We'll look at that. And then Chiellini, an interestingly timed interview praising Allegri. Why? We'll look at that. And then Giuntoli'S transfer list for the summer is revealed. Will some of the names surprise you? Maybe, maybe not. We'll go through that together. Then the injury roundup and, of course, March's schedule for Juventus. I'm Berto. This is the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. It's March 1st. Let's rock with the news. All right, and we kick things off with the Ultras. Several groups from the Curva Sud are fed up with the situation around Juventus, upset with everyone involved, players, coaching, management, and they are set to protest. It begins tomorrow at the Curva Square, and they will march in protest to the outskirts of the stadium and close to J Hotel. Listen, when you get close to the J Hotel, just try and keep it down. Giovanni Albanese has work to do around the match. Apparently, these protests are set to go into the match day on Monday. But listen, it is strange, is it not, that with all the change, all the turnover, they are fed up immediately like this much? 12 games remaining in the first season, when we went through 3 years under the previous regime of awful stuff, and they never protested. They actually protested to keep the last guy around. It's just very, very bizarre to me. And this protest isn't really aimed at anyone specifically, just the overall Juventus. Listen, it's fine. I understand. They all need to realize that this is unacceptable, but they obviously clearly know, based on Motta's last interview and even Giuntoli'S words, they understand this is well below any standard Juve should ever set. Nonetheless, the Curva Sud fired up, and there will be a protest tomorrow. One of the guys involved in this group with Juventus is Giuntoli, and we have his transfer list for the summer revealed. The list is as follows: Gatti, Perin, Weah, Savona, Imbangula, Gonzalez, Vlahovic, and another one for sale on this list, Kenan Yildiz. However, next to his name, it does state Champions League qualification would be dependent on what happens here. Look, for me, immediately, I'm not buying this list. I'm not buying this list for several reasons. Number one is the books are going in the right direction and we are almost home free. I don't think we need to say goodbye to some of these guys that are on that list. Some of them I could easily understand Juve having listed for sale. But when it comes to guys they have missed, this is why I'm not buying this list. Cambiaso had an agreement with Man City and a deal was put forth. He stands us massive capital, which would change the entire outlook of the summer for Juventus. And him not being on that list is very suspect for me to actually buy into this list. The other is Douglas Luiz, and I'll tell you why. Yes, he just arrived to Juventus, but the reason is there is way too much smoke around Premiership interest in the player. And I think that his representation has actively been looking to get him back into England. So I think the omission of those two guys makes me believe that this list isn't realistic whatsoever. And I'll tell you why. Because Gazzetta also continues, and they're trying to push this from the player-coach relationship aspect. And recently we heard the words that were anonymous from an anonymous player speaking out against the coach. All right. But if we go back to the players meeting that was held a couple months ago with Motta, there were key guys that were at the forefront of this apparent meeting, and they're the guys on that list. And then Gazzetta continues on to say that Gatti's relationship with the coach is what has him ready to leave. I do not believe Gatti wants to leave Juventus, and I don't believe he would want to leave for any coach for that matter. Again, time will tell, but they are pushing the player-coach relationship issue. But what's interesting about all of that as well is Giorgio Chiellini. We heard the rumors a while ago. We don't know if it's true or not that he is kept out of the dressing room at Juventus right now. Something that came from the coach. But today, out of nowhere, and for no rhyme or reason, after a couple days after your active sporting director came out, gave Motta the words of backing, which we said could be a kiss of death, Giorgio Chiellini, active employee of Juventus, comes out praising Max Allegri in an interview, randomly. Just speaking out about his praise, his ability, although not playing for Juventus ever, and not ever being a supporter, to understand where he was and understand the club. Very random, very strange. And again, at this moment in time, Giorgio, a current employee. Man, we just always seem to add fuel to the fire, don't we? What do you take from this? Anything? What not? It's a strange situation, but you guys know the drill. Weigh in the comments. When it comes to the injury rundown, Kalulu was back training with the group today, so he should make the squad list for Verona as anticipated on yesterday's news break. And, of course, it is March 1st. We look at our schedule. You have Verona on Monday, Atalanta, Fiorentina, and we finish things up with Genoa. I want to know from all of you, what do you expect? What is your prediction for the amount of points Juve is taking home? That wraps up this edition of the news. You know the drill. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join our AJC army. But my favorite part, let me know what you think about all the news you just heard here today. And of course, I'm back tomorrow with another edition. Till then, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti.